What's up, guys? It's JT here, and today I'm going to be giving you some Lord Thor tips to help you become a better Thor player, a better tank, and if you still want to be able to do DPS style damage, but with playing a vanguard and being a defensive character at the same time. Now, I just want to preface this by saying I don't agree with all the people that are saying the same exact thing over and over again about spamming your awakening rune or rune awakening, however you want to say it. I don't agree with that, and I'm going to explain why in the video, and I will explain everything as best I possibly can. And let's go ahead and look at his passive abilities. Here is where all of his abilities are, right? So his ultimate, soars up in the air, throws out a hammer, boom, crazy. Shift, the longer you hold it, you dash forward. Pretty fantastic for getting in and out of engagements. The E is a bubble that if people are inside, you replenish your Thor force. And again, I'm going to go everything. Just give me 1 second here. Rune Awakening is the F ability where it consumes all your Thor force, which you only have 3 hammers, okay? You'll see. And you basically become in a Rune Awakening where you get to blast people. You can also see that it generates bonus health. The hammer throw gives you health, which is a plus. Passive is Thor force, which is what I was talking about, the 3 hammers that you get every time you use one single Thor force. You gain HP. So I'm going to go over every single one of these abilities at the bottom right of the screen, and I'm going to just talk about the range of each individual one and what else they can kind of do for you. So the first thing is the hammer throw, which everybody kind of hates on it a lot, and I think it's actually a very underrated combo. You can kind of run with it, and especially if you have a healer, it's just going to go, it would go crazy if people use it more often. I think if people are kind of sleeping on it, because you get to keep all your Thor force, and you can actually put a lot of work in with it. Now listen, so you get about a 23 meter range from where I just threw that hammer. Get about a 23 meter range that it will hit. The damage of just a throw is not amazing by any means, but when you throw the hammer, you notice that at the bottom of the middle of the screen, you notice how your HP, actually you get bonus HP, 100 bonus HP for throwing the hammer, for using Thor force, which is your passive. Now, something that I really like to do is to get up and personal in people's faces and start piecing them up, right? 1, 2, 3, and then you can throw your hammer and hit him again. And while you're doing this, by the way, you are gaining your HP health back as bonus HP. And after every single 3 hits, you can throw the hammer once again. So say in me in a strange, obviously this is not in game, but so basically I would start out by throwing the hammer. 1, 2, 3. I can get it again. Immediately after the 3rd hit, I can throw the hammer again. So you get 4 hits in like pretty rapid succession. Obviously this isn't the actual match, but to piece it up together, because when you're doing this, you're also getting bonus HP, and then you throw it again, you're just getting extra health as you're doing this, and you don't have to burn up all your Thor force to where if you're in a bad spot, you can turn around. You can, if you need to back up to healers, you can hold your shift and then you can back up. And I'm doing this very shittily, but you get the point. You don't have to burn through all your Thor force. You can get bonus HP continuously, relatively fast, if you just 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, 2, 3, boom, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, so you can get it fast, you get your HP bonus, and if you're having, obviously you have a healer on you, so you're constantly hitting and doing damage. You're hitting relatively fast, and I understand everyone goes, hey, well, I like using my Rune Awakening or Awakening Rune, where you pop into this, boom, boom, boom. It doesn't last very long, and not saying that it doesn't do a lot of damage. I use it quite often myself, but I think a lot of people are using it kind of too loosely, too loosely. Something that I've noticed that a lot of people don't do, in my matches at least, is that they don't really focus healers. They hardly ever focus healers. My DPS just kind of like runs around, tickles a little bit, and they don't really focus healers. They don't. I'm typically the one, this is why I like playing Thor as well, is that I get to play aggressive on healers because my teammates typically won't. I'm constantly trying to kind of pop my F or my Rune Awakening and I'm focusing on a healer. If they're behind the Strange, they're behind the Magneto, the Hulk, or whoever it is, I'm always, anytime I'm using my F, it is to focus on healers. I do not typically just use it to light up a tank, because what happens is if I light up this tank, he has 2 healers behind him, he's going to get healed up, and all the damage I just did was basically pointless. It's empty damage. It's stat padding, okay? It's no use of that. Now, obviously, if it's you pick a healer, or a DPS happens to pick a healer and, pick off one, and then they are vulnerable, they don't have the heals, then obviously go crazy, go buck wild, because when you do pop your F, again, it burns up all your Thor Force, and then, yes, you get a 200 bonus HP, but as it goes away, then you have no Thor Force, right? You don't have a way to just dip out. You don't have a way to dip out. Typically, you have to wait a second, and if you're getting lit up and you're getting hit with Groot walls, which is very frustrating, and your teammates aren't destroying Groot walls, you're going to need the ability to pop your shift and back up and go get over the Groot walls. And a lot of people, when you use that F, you are basically putting yourself in a sequence of you need to either make sure you get a kill, you need to make sure your healers are close and they're actually healing you properly, right? There's a lot of things have to line up for me to really want to spam my F. I'm not saying don't use it, but I definitely think people overemphasize it. In a perfect world, you could go crazy with the Fs, absolutely. But typically, if you're solo queuing like I am, F is like half the time I don't even use it, okay? Obviously, you can't spam it and you can't get it over and over again. But again, I always will focus the healer over anything, because I experience of just having people that don't want to take don't want to focus the healer, don't want to flank. Like DPS never wants to flank. They just want to run straight at them, and then they get cooked, and then they're like, oh, where are my healers? And then they blame the healers, and then they blame me, and then it's all back and forth game. Another great thing about this shift ability, obviously you can see it charging up in the screen. You see how it goes boom, boom. The higher it goes, the further you go. It's fantastic. Another thing it's really good for is pushing people off of points. If you're an OT, it's very convenient to just hold your shift. Boom, you just knocked a character off point, and boom, overtime's over because they didn't get a touch, or you knocked them off the touch. Done that multiple times where they're about to get a touch and I bump them off the site, and then they lose, obviously. Right. Let's say you do use your Thor Force and your boom. You have a whole 2-second cooldown on all your abilities outside of your E, and you're basically stuck in a rough spot, because if you're not able to back out, and because you have no Thor Force and you have that 2-second cooldown. 2 seconds might not seem like a long time, but my God, sometimes I've a full straight experience where I fucked up. I used my ability and I wasn't prepared for the whole two seconds of me getting blasted by DPS, by tanks, by healers, even whatever the case. I'm not ready. And I think that's why I always say be very careful with your F. But say, you're piecing up people. Now you get between these two, you hit your E, you're back to full. But I'm going to be honest, you're not going to fucking E people. You're not going to bubble people often. You're not going to, more than likely. You might bubble one, maybe bubble two. If you can bubble, if you're in a spot where they're tunneled and you can bubble and you can get that, where you F, you throw your lightning, right? And then you get in, you E, and then you can do it again after the whole 2-second cooldown, by the way, still. Then go crazy with it, right? I don't think you should rely on F. When you're using your Rune Awakening on Thor, you don't want to aim it at characters, okay? And again, obviously, these aren't, people aren't going to be standing stationary, and if they are, free eating, you're eating good, I promise. You want to kind of predict what they're going to do. Because if you're this far away, trying to F, they're going to see that a relatively long ways away. And they're going to probably just move out of the way. If they're very jumpy and they go left or right, you can predict, hey, this invisibish is gonna go jump up and go left, or jump up and go right. You're all just predicting, boom, 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 in hopes they just kind of fall into it. It's not gonna be perfect every time. When I was talking about my F, if I have a tank in front of me, I know I'm backtracked a little bit here. When I have a tank in front of me, if I use my F, I don't even worry about the tank most of the time. Doctor Strange, Magneto are kind of a pain in the ass when it comes to this because of their shield and the radius of that shield. But if they're fucking up and playing Thor, they're fucking up and playing Hulk or any other character on that list that they don't have a shield to protect a large area of the screen, I will kind of just move ahead, move past them, or just shoot my Rune Awakening around them to focus on the healer. So I'll purposely strafe, and then again, this is all in preface of going around the tank to throw these because they do so much damage. And if the healer doesn't have a healer, after I do this again, you know, say I maybe get the pick off her, but maybe I don't. Let's say I'm jumping around, I hit her once with my lightning and she's low, and I know she's like a quarter HP and she's low, she doesn't have another healer to heal her. After I come out of that Thor force and I'm still getting damage taken by the tank, I will, you know, I'll hit my E. Obviously with the tank, I'll get my Thor force back, and then I will shift and push up into her and then hit her. I'll lunge at her to take out the healers. That's like a big thing. I'm always very, like, basically becomes my job to always go for the healer, because if I don't, it seems like nobody else really focuses healers unless they're ulting them. That's it then. Like, very rare do I have a DPS that's actually focusing on healers and flanking and then trying really hard to get that and get that working. And if you're playing with a squad, you're probably doing a hell lot better job. I solo queue a lot of my rank matches, and I honestly, a lot of people that have gotten characters, Lord, kind of are like quick play Andes, and they just spam quick play because they go by, like, you know, 5-minute matches. You get a lot of kills, you get a lot of damage, you get a lot of block damage, healing, all that shit. And it's just kind of like, you know, but I've been playing a lot of Thor in ranked specifically, not playing a bunch of quick play to hurry up and get Lord Thor and to make this video. It's just to try to help people that want to play Thor. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is...
4, 3, 2...
She's interrupting me, I'm sorry. Last thing I want to talk about is the ult. I only use this fucking thing to ult healers. I never use it, unless I'm being petty, I never use it on DPS, tanks, only healers. And that is because they are pests, okay? And this is very good against other healers, or against healers. And it's very good at baiting out healers' ults. A lot of healers will ult early to save their own ass. And yeah, it'll heal their teammates a bit. But if you can bait it out now, and they don't have it when they really need it, it will save the match for you. And obviously, I'll do this little quick boom. You slam down, boom. Right, you just not blow them away. Right. There are counters to this. I've been hit out of my ult so many times. He limbed out of my ult. I've been bumped and I go down to 50%. There's some very much so drawbacks, and Cloak and Dagger is a very good counter for it, because she just does this like, and then they're gone, and then my ult doesn't do shit. But Cloak and Dagger does counter it very well. But for the most part, not a lot of counters. But I will say, don't use it like on tanks. You'll literally tickle them, especially if they have healers. because you're just basically farming. You're just using ult on nothing, and you're just cooked. I will say this: when you ult too, you want to make sure you get yourself in the closest possible proximity. And when I say that, is because if you ult back here, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get him, and if you only get him in like the very end of the ult, you're not gonna really do anything. Unless the healers have no tank and they have no ult and they have nothing to really, you might get them, but most likely, and probably not. Most likely not. They'll just back up. These are stationary characters. If I pop it here in a real game, they're just gonna back up, and by the time I hit with a hammer, they're probably just gonna be fully out of the way. So something I do a lot is I try to kind of get not behind them, but like right on top of them to again bait out their ult, eliminate them, get them out of my way, because again, man, if the healers are healing, brother, you're not, and your healers aren't healing, the likelihood of somebody slipping up is just very minimal. And depending on your situation, if you're playing with friends or you're solo queuing, it varies match to match. If you happen to make it through the entire video, I greatly appreciate you for watching it all the way through. I could give you a kiss right now. And I appreciate the heck out of it, man. I really do appreciate it. I hope some people improve and like kind of learn and see what I'm saying. And when they finally, it all clicks and is put together. It's very simple, but at the same time, sometimes the simplest things are kind of not, when it's not maybe brought to attention, it's not noticed, and then it kind of seems complicated or complex or anything of that nature. But again, I appreciate you for watching. Make sure you leave a comment. I'm going to be reading all of them, replying to all of them, of course. And yeah, have a great day. Appreciate you for watching, and peace the fuck out.